What's up, everyone? Welcome to Redskins Talk TV. This is me, Dre. I am here at Jason's Deli having lunch, and just want to talk about this upcoming game. First and foremost, I want to apologize because I didn't have my pregame analysis or postgame video against the Minnesota Vikings. A lot of shit going on. Just very busy at work, looking out of overtime and stuff. New schedule change, but all the same, I'm going to go ahead and make this video now. We've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 1-8 Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming into FedEx Field to take on our Washington Redskins. Now, this is a win that we have to have. Every game of the season, from game 1 to game 16, is a must-win game that we need. Right now, we're sitting in the basement of the NFC East. Against the Vikings, I watched that game. A lot of people were downing Robert Griffin III, but he had a pretty solid game. I know the last pass of the game wasn't quite what it should have been. However, for the most part during the game, he played very well. Had the one interception, yeah, that was bad. Anytime there's a turnover, that's bad. But for us to get a lead in the game and then lose it, for those who want to blame RG3, consider that number 10 doesn't play on special teams. He doesn't play on defense. So when Teddy Bridgewater was out there looking like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, it's not number 10's fault that the other team was able to score 29 points. For those who want to jump on that particular bandwagon against RG3 and say that Colt McCoy would have been the answer, if Colt McCoy had been in the game, chances are the defense would have let him down as well. But let's get back to this with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Just because they're 1-8 doesn't mean that they're a shit team. I know the record doesn't stand for much. They're in the basement of the NFC South. But overall, they come to each game. I haven't seen any of the games where they're just getting entirely blown out. So they make it very competitive. They just haven't been able to put all the pieces together on offense. But the defense is still pretty solid. And with us, because we looked like a special group of guys when we played against the Dallas Cowboys in that Monday night game. Hassler was blitzing over and over again, and then for some reason he veered away from the blitz going up against the Vikings. So you have Matt Asiata, who had 3 running touchdowns, and then you have Chase Ford, who got behind the defense, smoked Brian Clark, scored a touchdown, and they also had a 2-point conversion that they were able to score. So it's one of those things where the defense has to be solid. So let's talk about the offense first. We have RG3 coming in. Now, we're going to need for him to release the ball quickly, make the proper reads, not stare down one individual receiver. But if it works in terms of getting the checkdowns just to get the ball moving, build that confidence, I'm all for that. Also, they should have a game plan to get him out of the pocket, because against the Minnesota Vikings, unfortunately, the offensive line let him down. So he got sacked 5 times. Quarterbacks never get hit that many times. And as I said in the earlier video, the offensive line needs to make a commitment to keep number 10's jersey clean. For our quarterback to get hit that many times is unacceptable, and the offensive linemen should take ownership of that. So we need for protection from the offensive line. We need a good run game. Alfred Morris, he almost got to the 100-yard mark here. I think he had for like 91 yards against the Vikings. But they need to get the ball in his hands. Get Robert Griffin III on some design plays to get him down the field with the ball in his hand. That'll keep that defense off balance. Whatever works for him. People are trying to make him a pocket passer. He can pass from the pocket, but use his talent. This is something that I'm noticing with Cam Newton. This is something I'm noticing with Kaepernick, is that they're trying to keep them completely in the pocket instead of allowing them to utilize their talent with their legs and keeping the defense off balance. And that's the same thing that's happened to Robert Griffin III. He's still a good quarterback, but now there's all these comparisons with him and Andrew Luck. Yes, Andrew Luck is a much better pocket passer. He's got a much better offensive line. Defense is a bit more solid than what we have. So really can't go all into comparisons because you can see the difference between the two. But overall, getting the ball out of Robert Griffin III's hands, he needs to make sure that he's not staring down at the receivers, but at the same time, on those passing plays, the receivers have to get open, because we can easily see that during the snap of the ball, he's holding the ball too long. But the question from there is, when you're watching the game, are you actually watching the receiver? Are you watching the offensive linemen and how they're maintaining their blocks? The quarterback, he's one part of the puzzle. but he's got to be able to get the ball out of his hands, and that's contingent upon the receivers getting separation from the defensive backs and the linebackers, especially with the tight ends. So that's the most important thing. Also, once again, getting Alfred Morris the ball early and often, take some of that pressure off of the quarterback. That's going to be extremely important. I think Jordan Reed can have a pretty nice game. Number 86, whenever he's in there, he's making some really good catches. It's always difficult because you never know how they're going to be able to contain Deshaun Jackson. He's always making an impact when he gets down the field. And also Pierre Garçon, he's been a little bit asleep. They haven't been able to target him much. You know, he's been getting open. There's been some drops, some missed passes going his way. But getting all those guys on board. But I think in this game, with the passing game, between Deshaun Jackson and Jordan Reed, they're going to be the impact players. And of course, RG3 being able to make plays happen. If something breaks down, just tuck the ball and run. Please, RG3, just tuck the ball and run. Get that first down. You're starting to use a slide more, but don't take those hits. It's easy to say from someone who's just watching the game, but that's just something that he has to do and stop thinking too much. Now, as far as our defense, I don't know what happened last week as opposed to the week before when we played Dallas, and we were able to keep Tony Romo and gang in check. But that's all up to Jim Haslett. He's got to design some plays because they have Mike Glennon, decent quarterback. He's not going to beat the world, but he can manage the game. He's had some games where he's won. Really haven't done too well this season. But once again, the play calling and the way the staff has been performing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it hasn't helped him or benefited him in any manner. So Jim Haslett's going to have to dial up some exotic blitzes to get to the quarterback, force him to make errant throws so that our defenders can get turnovers, which is something that we're desperately needing as a defense. Special teams has really started to improve, so we really can't say much with that. Andre Roberts, he's still got to be able to get his ass up the field on those returns instead of running laterally while the defenders are closing in on him. But those are the phases of the game. Once again, the defense has to be able to shut down Mike Glennon because for the Tampa Bay offense, Doug Martin, he's not quite the same as he was when he was a rookie. The same with Alfred Morris. So he's been dinged up with injuries. So they have another running back. But the key players for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be Mike Evans, number 13 wide receiver, and Vincent Jackson. He's a little bit older. He's not quite as fast as when he was with the San Diego Chargers, but he's still a possession receiver that can get good separation. He's a big receiver. He plays physical off the line of scrimmage, so he can shake off a defender who's trying to jam him. But in those zone defenses where there's a little bit of space between the corner and the safety, the quarterback is going to try to target that with a little bit of misplays and all that. So we really need to ensure that play physical with the receivers. Hopefully Brilliant, he'll be back to 100%. I know he was a little bit hurt practicing after the Dallas game. So we really need him to perform and stay strong. And also David Amerson, whichever one is going to be covering Mike Evans, because he's got 5 reception touchdowns. So they're really going to have to blanket him. And as far as our safeties, play solid football. Don't overcommit to any play. Let the guys in front of you commit to that play and have strong discipline. But once again, these are just the phases, and hopefully we can get this victory. It might, on paper, it looks like an easy victory, but we have a tendency of making those easy games, as they're supposed to be, extremely difficult or a bit more challenging than what they should. But hopefully we can come away with this victory. It's a home game at that. So we really need to try to get back to 500. Right now, we are 3-6. Cowboys are still in the lead by half a game over the Eagles. But we have to worry about them later this season. But the rest of the season is going to be tough. All the teams that we're playing, every game is a must-win. If we can at least finish at 800, that would be somewhat satisfactory, especially because of the record that we had last season. But once again, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. But to my Redskins family and anyone that watches this video, go ahead and leave your comments, share your opinion. And to my Redskins family, hail to the Redskins.